the simple meaning of ethics or values means. These are the, let me see the first slide and the next one after this. So, yes. Yeah. Ethics is a vital component for the survival, because we have been discussing that India is a democratic nation. Of course, we are experiencing its fruits, because ours is the largest democracy in the world. We are enjoying liberty, equality, fraternity, what all features are the values are there in democracy. We Indian citizens are enjoying it. So let us see how this ethics actually plays a role in the administration. For any administrator, he need to have values. So what do you mean by values? Moral values, what we are learned from our families, we learned in our society. When you are living in the society, society has set certain values to be followed. So ethics is nothing but the standards our society has placed on ourselves, or otherwise itself, because society is nothing but we are all. So it has placed on us to guide our behavior and to choose our actions, which is good and which is not good. Means what to take up and what to not to take up. This is all about ethics. Actually, ethics is a branch of philosophy. It's a most of you know what is philosophy and all. Which speaks about Vedanta, which speaks about spirituality. So it's a concern about human conduct, the standards, which is right and which is wrong, is all about ethics. Okay. So this ethics, how it is important for an administrator, is our point here. Okay. So in the second slide, you can see that, so administrator, that is the public servants. For public servants in administration, ethics is, like we say, values are very, very important, because ethics is a keystone, or otherwise a key or vital point for the good governance. Because everywhere we believe that today's governments are intended to provide good governance. So how it is possible? Governance, good governance, it's not just because of democracy we all can enjoy good governance. The people who are implementing it need to have ethics, need to have values. Then only they can provide us good things. As just now we have seen there, ethics is nothing but the word, Greek word, no? From Greek word it has come, we have seen here. So this word, Greek word, is a way of life. Ethos means, from that word ethos, ethics has come up, and the meaning of ethos is way of living. The way we are leading our life means that is what type of standards you are maintaining. Okay, so already I explained this one. No, just let us see the second slide. In that, how important or what are the values an administrator need to have. Ethics in administration, or the administrator's ethics. So just now, as you are reading here in this slide, it's a prerequisite, means a very, very important thing. See, for example, if you want to become a citizen for some other country, you need to fulfill some prerequisites. So you have to stay in that country for some years, what they have specified. You need to have some kind of eligibility. No? So that is the same. Prerequisite means eligibility. Okay. So you public service, in public service, values are the main eligibility for any public servant, because they are the public servants are the public trust, because we believe that they are our guiding force. They are our heads, or what say, they are our elders, almost like in a family, how we see the like our parents, how they have to be role model for us. In the same way, even the public servants also should be the role model for us. Okay, so therefore, every citizen expect their public servants need to have some values, that is fairness, managing the resources of the country in a proper way without doing any fraud, without falling into corruption, because yesterday we have discussed about how the corrupt people will be penalized by various citizen let's say forums we have. No, yesterday we discussed. So why the administrators has to be penalized like that? If they maintain good values, good system, we will appreciate them, we follow them, and we take them as our role models, isn't it? Therefore, what we are expecting from our civil servants or from our public servants or the employees of this country or the leaders of this country is ethics. They need to have ethics. Okay. So here for the public administrators, what do you mean by ethics? That is nothing but professional code of conduct. So we don't call, if it is a common man like you and me, we call it as a, say ethics, or what we call it as moral values. For these people, it is the code of conduct, code of morality, we call it as. Okay. So our UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, or our law has set certain code of conduct for professionals, for the administrators. So if they follow them, and they will regulate their behavior, and if they follow those things, they will be appreciated by the people. So what they supposed to follow? What kind of ethics or values are public servants supposed to have? Here I have given you. Number one is honesty. They need to have honesty. That in our Indian languages, we call it as in our Telugu language. So they need to have nijayati. Okay. So honesty, they need to have honesty, integrity, okay, and impartiality. That is so important. They should not show any partiality when they were discharging their duties. So administrators, n number of people used to meet them. No? So they need to have impartial attitude. They should not treat people based on their caste, based on their region, giving them some extra, importance, or otherwise even the eligible people also keeping them away from getting the things because they do not belong to this their caste or their area. These things should not be there. That character is known as impartiality. Means they should not be partial. They should not discriminate people. So that is one of the value every public administrator, public servant, or a politician, leaders of this nation supposed to have. Then another one, respect for law and the people. That is so important. After all, we are all citizens of this nation. We are supposed to respect our law. Every public servant should follow the law and work as per the law. They are not above the law. All are equal before the law. So also they are equal before the law. So just for their selfish things or for their personal things, they should not violate the law. They have to respect the law as well as respect the people, their fellow citizens, because though they are in the helm of the administration, they are not something extra. They are also part of this society. So they have to respect the people in that society. That character they are supposed to possess. That is known as respect for the law as well as respect for the people. Diligence, perseverance. Diligence means, so whatever they have taken in a committed way. Diligence means committed. So whatever the duty, responsibility given to the leader, given to the public servant, they're supposed to follow it until they are in the service. Okay, that is called diligence. They should not take the things in a light way. or who will ask me, I am a, like what the HOD, I'm a something, or I'm a so and so. On top of me, there is no one. I need not to give any accountability to somebody, because it's a people's government at certain level. When you go to certain upper level, you don't have people to control you, might be. So even then, they need to have commitment, and moreover, they have to have a thoughts of economy. So because this is not my money, let me use it in as I like. That's not the attitude a public servant is supposed to have. He need to have a economy. He should think of the resources should be used in a minimum way, not lavishly. Okay, not unnecessarily. They should use the public money, because they are the trust for the public money. They are the watchdogs of the public money. Then another one is that I'm a district collector, or I'm a so on and so, I'll simply go sit in that seat and come back, is not the day of today. Every administrator is expected to work effectively. Okay. And also accountability, as I just now already spoke to you know. So every administrator, public administrator, should be accountable for their activities, for their behavior in the public as well as in the personal life also, because the public servants always will, the people will keep on watching them. So their private as well as public life should be clean and neat, and should be accountable to the people. Why they have to interfere in my personal matters in such a way? They should not think. Once the people are thinking you are their leader, they will look at you. Even your private life also, they will look at you. So therefore, ethics in public, what I say, in the life of a public servant, these points what I have spoke to you: honesty, integrity, impartiality, respect for the law, and diligence, economy, effectiveness, and accountability are very, very important things. Then let us see. We have, yeah, one more. Next slide we'll see. In the next slide, I have given you, there are some countries, we call them as OECD. Means, here I have given the meaningful name, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. Because in our public administration, we keep on come across this word, okay? Because these countries, this is one association of countries, a group of countries, how we have SAARC, how we have Commonwealth nations, like that. This is also one group of countries. They have come together and they formulated, because their main intention is that to provide good governance. Okay, so as part of good governance in their nations, the public servants as well as the politicians supposed to have these components, these ethics. And what they said here, you just read it, because in our textbooks also it was given. That is a political commitment. They need to have political commitment, creation of effective legal framework. So especially these politicians who are all making laws, no, effective legal framework. It should not be loose. It should not have loopholes. Okay, it should be strict and rigid, where people cannot escape from their, like we say, from accountability and all. Then proper accountable mechanisms should be there. And these will help them. These components will help the people to be in their moral values, to follow their needs for evolving workable codes, professional socialism mechanisms, or training. So for all the, what do I say, that our leaders, as public servants, there should be training here and now and then, internal training, or what's the in-service training, supposed to give for socialization mechanisms and all, to have a proper idea. Then creation of supportive public services need to be provided, and coordinating bodies also need in order to look after the like let's say whether public administrators are following ethics or not, to verify that coordinating body supposed to be there. And there also should be civil society. That's what we know, like what I say, NGOs or people's organization. We call them as civil societies, okay? Unions, associations. These are all very, very important. And of course, opposition parties, because these are the people who are watching over the public servants and all. So therefore, little energetic civil servants, civil society, if there means these components, all these components will make the public servants to follow ethics. Okay, so that's the mechanisms that are needed to watch ethics is followed by our proper values are following by the public servants or not will be seen in the thing. Then let me talk to you. Yeah. What else? Yeah, components over, then ethics in administration. So I don't want to give much about, because these are all common things what we generally know about. Otherwise, when an administrator and public servants, when they are not following ethics, they involve into corruption. When they don't have ethics, means they involve into corruption, they involve into fraud, okay, and misuse of their abuse of their power. These kind of things will take place. So to prevent all these things in every country, especially in democratic nations, we are giving much importance to ethics in the administration. So number of papers, number of people have written, even we have a what we call administrative reforms committee. That committee also have given some recommendations for the code of conduct of public servants, how they have to work and what they're supposed to do for the society, and how they have to behave in the like in their activities and all. It has been given. So this is all about the ethics in politics or ethics in public services. Okay, we have done with that one. Then let us see the next one. So that unit is over, that chapter is over, ethics in public services, which is so important for us. So now we are moving on to the next topic in our syllabus. This is about public enterprises. Public enterprises. So you all know various commercial let's say companies, or let's say industries we have in our country or throughout the world, we can see. But basically, we all know about the government. Government duty is to look after the well-being of people, or would say taking up law and order issues, defense issues, or minting coins or printing currency. These are the things they will be doing, isn't it? But what happened, maybe because of the colonial, might be colonial influence or legacy, when Britishers were ruling us, no? At that time, these people have started a business. The government started doing business. That is what started railways and these kind of things, transportation and all. Government have started that kind of activities. So even after independence, we continued it. Okay. And especially after independence, for the well-being of the people, we want our government, Indian government, I'm talking to you about Indian government. So Indian government in the beginning, it thought like a private people will handle the industries and all. But very few people have come forward to handle these private industries and all, because large-scale industries require a lot of funds. Those days, we don't have these many funding agencies. That's why individuals or a private person, he cannot afford huge investments. And even those days, there were no public issues like how we are taking shares and all, no, in the share market. That kind of things also not there. So individually, he has to spend means not possible for him. That's why large scale industries were not taken up by the many private industries or industries. That's why government of India has entered into commercial aspects, that commercial activities such as like business units. They started running the business units. So now I just want to give you the meaning of the public enterprises. If you see the third bullet, there you can see the meaning of the word public enterprises, which are known as public enterprises. So the business houses or the business units managed by or controlled and controlled by the central, state, or local governments are termed as public sector enterprises, okay, which are run by the either central government or state government or even local governments. If they run the business units, we call them as the public sector enterprises or public sector undertakings. This in short form, PSU, we call it as undertakings, public sector undertakings, we call them. So, this commercial and industrial means undertaking owned by the management only. In order to, why the government is taken up this industries means its main intention is that maximizing social welfare and uphold the public interest. So whatever business the government wanted to do, it wanted to get the profit for the well-being of the people. For social welfare only, it spends. Say, for example, you and I know very well, if one organization is running by a private person, if he get any kind of benefit or profit, he will be using for himself, for his family's sake. It won't be given to the government. Maybe these days we have income tax and all, but that's a different. Except income tax, majority or the whole profit will be enjoyed by alone, by him and by his family. But whereas public sector industries are not like that. So when they run the industries, when the government take up and run the business industries, the profits will be used for the social welfare, for the upliftment of the poor people, for maintenance of public utilities. Okay, so that's a meaning. Then let us see how come in the beginning, how these public sectors have started in our country. Means, as I just now I spoke to you, because many private industries or private people are not coming forward, our Indian government had entered into business, okay, business activities. At that time, the business activities are confined only to the huge projects like Hindustan Machine Tools, means HMT, we call it as in short way, HMT. What do you mean by HMT? It's not just watches. HMT means Hindustan Machine Tools. Huge machines and all will be prepared by our government only. Okay, and steel plants, Rourkela, many steel planets we have, no? So such kind of planets they have started. Then building of aircrafts, ships, these kind of things, and BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited. So, and ONGC, like Oil Natural Gas Corporation. Okay, then NTPC, that is Thermal Power Corporation, etc. These are all some of the most important or a huge industries that has been taken up by the government in the beginning. Damodara Valley project, thermal projects, coal mines, like that it has taken in the beginning. In the later part, that is around 60s, like that, what the government has started, it started nationalizing some of the private sector companies in 60s, I said, no? Maybe you heard about in our preamble, Indian Constitution preamble, you might have heard that we introduced the word socialist. If you remember, socialist, the word has been included in our Constitution in the year 1976. Swagar Singh Committee has actually recommended to introduce this word to run the country in a socialistic pattern of way. That's we were little influenced by Russia at that time. So therefore, our government have taken nationalization of private industries. As part of that, as you all know, that so many financial institutions were nationalized. Financial institutions in the sense, banks. In 1986 or something, our banks have been, because for us, it's not the syllabus now, but simply I've been telling you, nationalized some banks, 14 banks like that, they nationalized, and also nationalized some of the sick private companies which are going in losses, which just simply they wanted to live off, such kind of companies they have taken, and they started making it. And later days, in 70s, like that, when it comes, government also enter into, like I say, pharmaceuticals, that medicines preparation, and weaving clothes. Weavers, you all know about our clothes, what we call it as saris, various weaving clothes are there. I forgot the name, like near our Nampally. We have the forum. I'll tell you by the end of this one, I'm not getting it. And hotels also, government also running the hotels. Okay. So what all the, you might be heard about Athri Niwas, like that near CM's house also, there is a huge hotel running by our government only. Like this, hotel business our government has started, or what say, medicines our government has started. Okay, so many things. IDPL you might have heard about, no? So they're all started by the government. Then let us move to the next slide. How they have started, we come to know. Now let us see the characteristics of public like a sector undertakings. I told you, private enterprises are also known as, another name for public enterprises is also known as public sector undertakings. Okay. So public sector undertakings characteristics. What are the characteristics? Number one, they are welfare. They are guided by not profit motive, but they are guided by the public welfare. They focus, all these organizations are focuses on the well-being or commodities in a reasonable price. Whatever they manufacture, that will be given in a reasonable price. Okay, that is one of the commercial characteristic of the public sector units. Okay, then next one, provide in a of course, reasonable as well as in a subsidy rates. It provides, of course, today if I give you this example of petroleum and gas, you will get angry, because day by day, every day, government is increasing the, means slowly they are removing the subsidies. I'll tell you the reason why they were removing and all. But one thing we have to remember, surely or definitely government is providing a few things which are managing by itself in a subsidy rate. Okay. Let us see the second one, public utility services. And public enterprises they focus mainly on the things which are used by the people, or utility services. Public utility means which are used by the thing. Such kind of things only it is managing. Okay, if it is managed by somebody else, they may not. It may not be available for all, based on the what we say that cost and all. Okay, if they go provide in a higher cost means everybody cannot get it. Say for example, electricity, it is running by the government only. That's why in a reasonable rates, we are getting our electricity. Our transportation, trains, buses, RTC buses and all, our state government corporation, RTC buses, and telecommunication services. There is a lot of difference between the charges of government charges of telecommunication and private sector people. Okay, maybe in the beginning they give, just to make the people to habituated to that services, they will give in a less price. Like last time also I told, a company called, what is this, Geo services, they have given free of cost in the beginning, but afterwards it has been Reliance companies and all, they are giving. But whereas government will be all the time same. There's like charges will not increase in a unreasonable or a like what say unnecessary way. They won't increase. Okay, little reasonable way they increase. Okay, then moving on to the next thing is public sector companies accountability. Another point, sorry, not the slide. Another point is public sector companies works with accountability, because whatever it is, let it be the commercial, they are running in a commercial business only, but still they are accountable. Institutions are accountable to the government or to the legislators. That's why these institutions, electricity department and whatever department they are all, HPCL, ILO, all this, they work in an accountable way. Let us move to the next one as classification. Yes. How we classify? Sorry. Yeah. Public sector companies. So all are not same. The companies are, the public enterprises which are running by the government are not same or not equal. Okay. They are divided into three types. Almost for today, more than 298 public enterprises are working in our country, major and all. So they're all not equal. Let me classify or tell you in what way we can classify these public enterprises. Number one is departmental undertakings. Okay. So departmental undertakings means what? They are directly managed by the ministers. They are, the head of that department is minister. Okay. So just like a education minister, how we have, or what is say that human resource development minister, youth affairs, tourism minister, like that. Even some of the commercial activities of the government are also run by the departments, just as like railways. So we have railway department, railway minister is there. Under him, some officers will be there, IRS, people who qualified in IRS, no? They will be heads for this railway department and they will run it. Okay. And they are funded and managed by the departments only. For any kind of bogies has to create and all, means government funds only, they will have separate budget in the government budget. Okay. And its policies will be formulated by the government, and they have to, means the charges of the railways and everything will be managed by the minister. Ministers only will take care. So if public sector enterprises or departments, commercial departments are working under the minister, we call them as departmental undertakings. Okay. Example, railways, postal services and all. Okay. Then moving on to the second one is public corporations. We'll call it as a corporation. So they're all mostly financial institutions. What are they? For example, our banks, SBI, Union Trust of India, Unit Trust of India, then LIC. These are all known as corporations, but they are running by the government, okay? And these are known as autonomous bodies. Autonomous means they have freedom. They are managed by their own, like boards were there. Of course, the boards will be created by the government only, but government will not interfere in their things, okay? So therefore, the government, what we call it as the autonomous boards are, directors are running the corporations, and they are self-sufficient because they'll get the finances. So they're self-sufficient, their salaries and everything from them only, they will, the employees who are working in these corporations, no, will be given by the corporation only, that they won't get from the government, okay? And then next one is, and they don't get PFs and like what I call it as pensions and all, just like the government employees. Government employees in railways and all, I told you, they will get all benefits just like a government employee. But here, banks, they don't have, like LIC bank and all, they don't have, financial corporations will not have that kind of facility, but they are free from control of the government. Then coming to the third one, government companies. There are certain business units which we call them as the companies. Companies will have certain different policies. That's why we call them as the companies. So any company that is run by the government should register under the Company Act 1956, just like any private companies. In our country, there are n number of private companies. Just like any other private company, even the government companies also has to register, and they also has to follow the rules of the Company Acts, as well as guidelines and all has to be followed by them. So for example, HPCL, IOCL, these are some of the public government companies. In these companies, government share will be 51% or more. Minimum 51%. Whose share will be above half, they will be mostly owners, in those companies, and rest of the people shareholders. So major share will be the government, and rest of the things government get through public issues. Public issues means shares. Okay, people sharing will be there, and that profits will go to the shareholders and all. Like that, major profits will go to the government only, because theirs is more than half they will have. Okay, so these are the three different types of public sector sector enterprises running by Indian government, as I told you. Then down you can see here public sector undertakings. By 2015, we have 298 total, that is run by the central government. I'm talking to you here. Central government is 298, and all these 298, based on their turnover, they are divided into two ways. Okay, that is about Navaratnas and Mini Ratnas and ordinary companies. Okay, so out of these Mini Ratnas and Navaratnas, if you see, this is Nava means 9. Okay, total 9 huge companies we have in our country. Okay, then Mini Ratnas means their turnover will be less than, would say, 100 crores or something. Beyond 100 crores and all are known as Navaratnas. Okay, so in this way, government running and making profits out of it. But let me go to another one that's about, Okay, till now we have discussed about the public sector companies. But we also know that companies are also running by private people. Majority today, especially in this 21st century, most of the companies are run by the private people only. No? So let us see what are the differences between private and the public. In your textbook, it was given very clearly. If you read it, easily you will understand it. Say, for example, public, like private sector companies, their main motto is profit, maximization of profit. How much they can get that much profit, they wanted to gain out of their commercial activities. That's their intention. But whereas government, private enterprise, public enterprises are just opposite to that. Their motto is not profit, but welfare of the people. People should not be exploited. They have to get the things in a reasonable way. That's how they have actually entered. Then ownership by the individuals is the thing what we can see in the private sector, but ownership by the government is the thing you can see in the public sector companies. Okay. Then the third one is that private sector companies are managed by the owner and the professional managers who are very much like a trained professionals. Those people will run the companies, whereas government sector companies are not by the run by these professionals, but by the civil servants. Most of the civil servants act as the directors for the public sector companies. Okay, so that's one thing. And capital raised by the private people, or like I would say through their own savings or by the loans they will take. Whereas for the government, mostly from the government amount funds as well as public issues they take up. And the area of operation is operations are all areas, adequate returns, and public utility sector on the investment. So public people, they will take it up. Private people, they will be using for their operations. But whereas profits will be utilized for the investment in the, like we say, people only. Again, by the private public sector companies. Okay. So those are the things. Finally, when you see the last conclusion, what are the today condition? Today, the condition of our public sector companies, if you see, many of our public sector companies, last slide, let us see the last one. Problems of the public sector companies. So, okay, it's well and good. Government is running the institutions in order to protect the people from exploitation, from excess charges and all. They're running. That's okay. But what are the problems today the public sector companies are facing? So I want to show the last slide in this one. Last slide. Yeah, that's about, see, for example, not yet shown, I think. 9th slide I want. The next slide. Yeah, I will explain. Yes, of course, I got it. Yeah, suffering with the loss. Today, the main problem what our public sector companies are suffering is losses. Why they are going through loss? As we all know that it is running by whom? By civil servants. It doesn't mean that civil servants do not have knowledge or do not have anything, but the main thing they don't have is that they are not spending from their pocket, no? So they don't have that pinch. They don't have that kind of what we say that commitment. Though we have studied, though there is a code of conduct for the public servants and all, But generally, when they think of it, it belongs to public, it belongs to government. Even the officers will have a blind look, will have a very scanty look over the companies. So, is the lack of effectiveness, lack of effective administration, or maybe supervision or control. Today, many public sector companies are going under loss. That's a one thing. Then second one is underutilization of capacity. So they have government servants. Say, for example, when a person is recruited as a government employee, you all know that how difficult it is for a person to come into a government service. He has to write like a various tests, examinations, competitive examination. So definitely he has a lot of caliber and capacity, but those things are not utilized in a right way. And maybe sometimes the public sector units are might be established in very far places and all. That is one of the reason why they are unable to like it's use the capacity of the people there. And the next one is the absence of rational pricing. So government, because it is running by the producing by the government and all, so prices also very, very nominal prices we are giving. And that is why today raw material costing a lot. But as what you are getting raw material cost, only you are selling the product. But maintenance, salaries, paying the salaries to the employees, maintenance of these machines and all is an extra burden for the government. So that's why pricing has to be increased. If the price has been increased, means people again, like I say that though it is running by the government, they were high prices they are putting like that. They will say that's why government is also not increasing the prices. Another one is the technology gap as well as political interference. So how much you say that some of the bodies are autonomous and some will not are not under the control of the government. They are running public companies and all. But still, we can see the interference of political parties and the politicians in the maintenance of these public sector organizations. Their problem arising, they're unable to maintain in a proper way. Then those are all some of the drawbacks in our public sector companies. But one thing we can understand that public sector companies, let it be the BHEL, BDL, then IRDP, then we have so many thermal projects, coal mines, we have coal mines and all. No? So they are giving a great contribution or significant contribution to our Indian economy. Because of them, all the natural gases we are getting. Of course, private people also getting it, but wherever we are working, our government plants are working and they are doing a lot and contributing for the economy of the nation. And when it comes to the conclusion, today, in the early 60s, or what to say, in the beginning of independence days and all, government is very eager to start the public sector companies. But now that is not the scenario, especially from 1991. Government, when it started following new economic policy, so with that, it has taken a policy called disinvestment policy. Disinvestment policy means government started withdrawing its investments in the public sector companies, and slowly, the share amount is they are reducing, and they are somehow they wanted to come out of these commercial things and all, want to focus on the main things. That might be one of the reason is they wanted to give to the private people in order to in order to overcome the problems what I have given you, the loss, underutilization of capacities and all. And the next one, multinational companies who has a great technology and all. they can help the people in a better way. No? So that's how today you all know about our telecom services. Very minimum telecom services of India's telecom services people are using. Mostly multinational companies telecom services we are using now, from the hardware to software. That is all the let's say hardware means in the sense cells. They are outside companies, multinational iPhones, like a Samsung. Yeah, these things we are using, and even the software things also, connection network also we are using. Other multinational companies networks we are using. So like that, slowly government is coming out of public policy, disinvestment policy we are following. And very recently, you all also heard about that Indian Airlines, that in Air India, sorry, Air India has been privatized. Actually, it is a private company. Then that has been nationalized by our government from Tata's. They have taken now last month. I think they have given to again to the private people. The same Tatas have taken it. Okay, and even the LIC also government giving some kind of a business way they were about to take up. So these are all various activities and various changes that are being taking place in our public sector companies. Okay, so with that, we have completed this lesson, public enterprises and ethics in the administration. How important ethics in the administration we come to know, and how public sector companies are working in our country, and today how government is slowly disinvestment policy following and coming out of the business activities and concentrating mainly on the major things like law and order issues only they wanted to focus. Okay, so this is all about